Welcome to Conversations for Couples, Episode 1. I'm David.
I'm Julie.
And we are...
The Bullets!
It was pretty close.
Yeah, we kind of did okay on that.
Sort of close.
Yeah, we're good on that.
We're
going to work on that.
Episode 2 will do better.
Much better.
Okay, so today we're talking perception and reality. Right?
Yes.
And this came up for a number of reasons, which we're going to talk about. But if you remember the old commercial that was on TV, where I think it was Andre Agassi, an old tennis player, and he talked about how perception is reality. I still remember that.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about is how different people look at the same thing and come away with different responses or reactions.
And that is the crux of a relationship when you think about it, because it's two different people coming together as one. And they're, yeah, I know, that was good, wasn't it?
Good one.
So, but really when you think about it, and that's what causes a lot of difficulties in relationships, but it also can be helpful. Because getting,
figuring things out.
Yeah, figuring things out.
Okay.
So very interestingly, this week I was talking with a really cool psychiatrist, and he said something really neat that I liked. You know when you get really heavy packages and it says, this is for two people to lift?
Well, I know you get a lot of packages.
Yeah,
but
you know that little sticker on the package. So, and he was making an analogy that in life, it's better to have two people helping. And so when you think about it in that way, a relationship can be enhanced by having two different views, but it also can be the conflict in the relationships when two different people are seeing things differently.
Let's reel it back for a second. And from there, we wanted to kick off with how we met, because those were two very different perceptions of the same reality. Or maybe it was a different reality, I don't know.
Well, it was the same event.
So,
it was the same event.
You first.
Yes.
You first.
Yeah. So I was at University of Maryland and first year freshman at University of Maryland in 1980s sometime. And I had been dating this guy, and he was not very reliable. That would be a nice way to put it. So he would say, I'll call you later, we'll do something. And back in the day, we didn't have cell phones. We had a hall phone that he would call on. In the day, in the dorm. So I would wait. My room was right by the phone, and I would wait. And I think it was 8:30 or 9, and my friend Sumac came by and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, well, so-and-so is supposed to call me. We're supposed to go out." And she looked at me and she's like, "Julie, he always does this. You're coming out with me." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I kind of got a thought okay, well, I'm going to meet somebody else anyway. So, the heck with him not calling me. And we went to a fraternity party, University of Maryland. And I was with Sumac and drinking some drinks. There was some gin and tonics, 2 for 1 or
3 for 1.
3 for 1 or whatever it was. I had a couple drinks in, having a really, just fine time. And I look across the room, and I'm with Sue, and I see this guy walk in. It was you.
It was me.
It was you. I see this guy walk in, and my friend Sue sees the same thing, and we're like, wow, he's cute. And then she looks next to you, and she's like, I know the guy he's with. So we literally, did a power walk over there, and Sue started to talk with your friend Brian, and we got introduced. And so we were talking to Brian, and then we were talking to you, and I just, had a checklist in my head of, what I was looking for in a guy. And well, first of all, you were very good looking. And then as we talked.
Still.
Yeah, still. As you talked, I was like, you told me, oh, you're a senior. I'm like, oh, he was a little older than me. Oh, I'm going to law school. Oh, check, he'll have a job. And then you were telling me you're from the area. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm from the area, so that's kind of nice. And you, although it wasn't on my top priority list, you told me that you're Jewish, and I'm Jewish. And I thought, well, my parents will like that one, so check on that one. So for me, it was kind of you checked some boxes, and I was, thinking more long term. I was thinking, well, this could be a guy that I would want to date, and this could be why the other guy didn't call, because it was meant to be. And so I was really happy that I met you.
You were looking long term. Your thinking at the time, your perception of the event was okay, this is someone, of course.
Marriage material.
Marriage material.
Yeah.
Now, now we switched channels, right?
Yes.
And I had gone out with my friends.
Yes.
And I saw you too, and you checked certain boxes, but different boxes. I was checking different boxes, and there was no long-term thinking about what was going to be 30, however many years ago later, like we are now. It was more about where we were going to be maybe 30 minutes or an hour later. Much shorter term goals and shorter term boxes to check. Which, by the way, you checked those boxes.
Yeah, I checked those boxes.
You did. So, but it was a different view of that hour or so that we were together, 2 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you had been, if we had been interviewed like the next, day or the next week, it still would have been a different perception because I think I was in a different place of what I was looking for. I mean, I think you liked me. But I don't think in the same, way that I was feeling it. Like I thought this.
Oh, I was feeling it, but I was.
Yeah, but it wasn't in the same way. So it was a different perception of the same event.
Yes,
so anyway.
Yes. Okay.
So
different. So this issue also has popped up recently in some things that we have seen.
Yes.
And so I want to start with the fuzzy pickle story.
The fuzzy pickle. Yes.
So a week or 10 days or so ago, we take our young grandsons for golf lessons.
Yes.
The very first time they ever hit a golf ball, we had a pro was showing them how to hold a club and so forth. And he's bouncing back and forth between the two boys, 1-6, 1-4. And at some point, he's with the 6-year-old and he turns to my 4-year-old grandson and he says, "How you doing?" And my 4-year-old says, "I don't need your help, fuzzy pickle." Now, I thought it was hysterical, right?
Yes.
As a grandparent. But in a different circumstance,
Yes.
If two parents were there,
Yes.
that one parent might have thought it was hysterical like I did,
Yes.
and one parent might have thought what?
That it was disrespectful.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So, and then that could lead to how do you parent this situation? How, do you reprimand him? Do you say something? Or do you just laugh? Or, that kind of thing. But that is, the same event, the fuzzy pickle, interpreted two different ways.
Funny. But yeah, I understand. So and that certainly could have someone else could have said that. You need to tell him he can't talk to somebody, an adult, that way.
Yes.
Although he could get away with it, probably pretty.
He's
much.
Pretty cute, but let's just say he's doing it at 14 and he's saying other words besides fuzzy pickle. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like basically telling him the same thing, but in different words.
No longer fuzzy pickle.
Right. So
okay. So there's a parenting piece that could have popped up.
Yes.
And so two more places I want to talk about. One is money.
Yeah.
So
I had a client. That came to me. They came together and they were having some conflict and issues around a lot of things. But one of the things that they were having trouble with was money. Mm-hmm. And she would go out and she would go to Starbucks or go to lunch with friends or shopping, and he would want every receipt for everything, even if it was like a $2 Starbucks drink. And so she was doing this, but she also felt pretty resentful about it.
Sure.
And so when we talked about how she felt, I understood what she was saying. And then he said, "Listen, I'm an accountant. And my job is to keep track of money and to budget and to know where every penny is." And she felt it was very controlling and he felt it was very responsible. Mm-hmm. So it was two different perspectives again, the same exact thing. Bring me your receipts.
Right. Yeah.
So we had to do some work around that and we had to talk about how she was feeling and how he was feeling and, tried to bridge the gap.
So we're going to talk about the bridging the gap in our next episode. Right
Yes,
now we're
we
just
will.
raising the problems.
Problems.
We'll talk about how to fix the problems next time.
Okay,
so
let's
deal with another problem, your favorite topic to talk about, sex.
Yeah, mine.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So you have two partners.
Yep.
One who wants to have sex more frequently.
Yes.
The other who doesn't.
Right. We call that mismatched sex drives.
Yeah, well, we don't know anything about that personally, but I've heard it's out there.
Yes, we have.
Okay. So you have the one partner who wants to have sex.
Yes.
The other one who really doesn't. The one person, and they don't, because that would be the default probably.
Right.
And the one person,
or they do, and the other person becomes resentful about it.
Right. So you have
because it's like a chore.
Right. So you have the one person who's feeling rejected.
Yes.
The other person who's feeling pressured.
Yes.
Same, right?
Right. It's the sex is the act and two different, like I said, mismatched sex drives. But the interpretation of why, why it's different is hard in a relationship.
The person who wants it more often probably is feeling rejected, irritated, not appreciated, not wanted. The old song, "I Want You to Want Me," remember?
Right. Yeah. That was a good one, honey.
That was good. We could play that one time. I love that song.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll crank that.
Yeah,
one.
but no, I mean, again, I think that there's tons of areas that two different people are viewing the same thing very differently.
Right.
And I think that's a big proponent of conflict and difficulties and deterioration of relationships.
So these are just a few examples of this perception as reality concept.
Yep.
If you sit down with your significant other, you can probably come up with dozens more that have gone on.
I don't even think you have to sit down. I think you just have to live your life. They pop up all the time.
But if people want to talk about it and realize that it's there,
yes.
then they can tune into our next episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
how we're going to bridge that gap, how we solve those
some
problems,
techniques.
work together to solve those problems.
Some techniques on working on this.
So subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bullits. Follow us and like us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in.